Hello, guys. This is Mortgage Martin. Today I have Lisa Blagof, who is a realtor with Coldwell Banker. She's been with Coldwell for over 20 years. She is involved with the Gilroy Rotary and is the vice president there. And she also has her own YouTube channel called Lisa Knows South Valley. Lisa, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, awesome. Well, very happy to have you on. Maybe for starters, maybe we can chat a little bit about how you got involved in this business.
So originally I worked in hospital laboratories. I was up at Good Samaritan in San Jose, St. Louis in Morgan Hill when it was a new hospital, then St. Louis when it moved to Gilroy, and I worked as a laboratory technologist. And then I met my husband and he wanted a partner in real estate. So I joined him, and after a while he had some health issues, so I ended up taking over the business, and so that lands me here in real estate as the primary.
Awesome. That's great. That's definitely a good business, a good path to be in, a good industry to be in. Um, let's talk a little bit on about how you can help buyers or first-time home buyers.
So I feel it's really important to meet first time buyers either face to face or on a Zoom, because a lot of them either have preconceived ideas about what it means to be a first time buyer. Also, they hear from their friends or they hear from their parents. And so it's really important to meet face to face to find out what their real estate goals are, and
Yeah.
then also to discuss expectations moving forward.
Yeah.
And so then I always check to make sure that they're pre-qualified. And if they haven't been pre-qualified yet, I have a list of vendors or
Yeah.
lenders and vendors that
Yeah.
I can refer them to. So there might be somebody who's a teacher or firefighter, police that there are special programs for,
Yeah.
and also for veterans, because I have lenders that do great work with the veterans in VA loans.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of preconceived notions that go with VA loans, so I try to walk them through that. And then also, we just want to discuss their timelines and their expectations, areas of interest, if they might have credit issues that they need to clear up before they get into contract. And then we create a plan together and we start moving forward. And we usually do that long before we ever go out and see our first house, because most people are looking online, and there's nothing more depressing than to fall in love with a house online and then find out that you don't qualify to purchase that house. So I want to get all those expectations and things out of the way.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, definitely make sure that they're pre-qualified. Make sure that they can actually afford the houses that you're taking them to go see. That's a really good first step. How can you, on the flip side, how can you help sellers as an
Well,
agent?
with sellers, I've done a lot of listings over my 20 years. In fact, I've been more of a
Mm.
listing agent than I've been a buyer's agent, but I still work with a lot of buyers also, because it
Yeah,
tends to, one follows the other.
yeah,
I always like to preview the home first. Then I can make recommendations if they need to prep the home, either for staging, upfront inspections, repairs. I have a list of contractors or handymen and inspectors that can come in, because it's really important in any time. Your first impression is always your most important. So you want to put your best foot forward when you're marketing your house. So we get inspections done up front so that you have nothing on the backside that's going to surprise you. There's nothing worse than getting 2 weeks in or 3 weeks into a transaction and finding out, you've got termites, and the termite damage is extensive.
yeah,
It's much better to find out up front that you've got a $4,000 bill coming up
yeah,
than it is on the backside. And also, I think that because buyers are really savvy now, and so when they're walking through a house, they're looking for ways to tick off dollars from the cost of the house. So if they, see stained carpets or matted down carpets, they're immediately going, well, that's $10,000. It may be $5,000, but their mind's always going to almost double
yeah,
the cost to replace something.
yeah,
If the cabinets are falling apart or there's dings on the walls or the yard's dead. So I always like to put the best impression up front. And so I'm really good about, walking that through and explaining that to sellers so they understand, because particularly with our super hot market that we've had lately, a lot of sellers think, oh, I can just throw my house on the market. Everybody's going to pay, top dollar for it. And it's actually, you're going to get more if your house is in pristine or near pristine condition. So that's always really important.
Yeah.
You never
Yeah.
want to put up a bad front.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, buyers are very savvy, right? I don't want to say nitpick, but most buyers want to just move into a house and have it done, right? They don't want to repair the small hole in the wall or replace the carpets, right? They want it turnkey.
They do want a turnkey house, and even if they have the money, they don't want to waste their money.
Yeah.
There's that fine line. And I know that sellers are like, well, I don't want to spend anything on my house. And I rarely, if ever, tell anybody to like get your whole kitchen.
Yeah.
It's just price it accordingly. And then, the interest will drive up the price if the interest is there. But if the interest isn't there, then you don't want to go spend $10,000 doing a kitchen that somebody might walk in and go, I hate those colors. I don't like white cabinets, or I don't like gray.
Yeah.
So that's important too.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta be very mindful of the buyer, right? The buyer that's gonna purchase your rehabbed property.
Well, and whether it's rehabbed or, it can be a 10-year-old house, but if you have kids, a 10-year-old house can look 20 years old really fast with
Yeah.
crayon on the walls and
Yeah, a
everything.
lot of wear and tear, right?
Or pets, there's a lot of things with pets that can, be really, and then coaching the sellers on how to prepare to have their house shown. That's also really important. And going through the contract with them, because a lot of them don't understand the intricacies of the California real estate purchase contract, or probably any state for that matter. But I think California is even more so. So I go through the contract with them and tell them where there's things to watch out for, and that I look for when I get an offer before I present it to them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of agents may or may not write a good offer.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and that's important too, because if you have to clean up an offer on the front end, chances are you're going to have a bad transaction all the way through.
Yeah.
So, I walk them through those steps as well.
Yeah. That's a good point. You mentioned walking them through the showing process. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
One, toilet seats down. That's a biggie. No dishes in the sink.
Yeah.
All the beds are made.
Yeah.
The dogs, take them with you. The
Yeah.
cats, take them with you. Take everything out. I know that a lot of people are really sensitive about, and it goes both ways. Some people want all their family pictures out on display because they're so proud of their family, and other people don't want their family pictures at all.
Yeah.
And I would say in most cases, I would take as many as the family photos out for privacy and security reasons.
Yeah.
But as well as, you want the buyer to be able to come into the house and recognize that, wow, this could be my house, and let them envision their life there, not seeing your memories there.
Yeah.
So that's part of it.
Yeah, that's very true, right? You don't want to leave your personal stuff out in the open for.
And that's another huge thing. People forget, and they leave their, they went to the gym or they went running, while the house is being shown. They leave their wedding ring, their watch, expensive items out. And I always tell my clients, if anything is important to you at all, pack it away. You're moving anyway, just pack it away.
Yeah.
Lock up your jewelry, lock up your money, lock up your medications. Because sadly, there have been cases when those have disappeared as well.
Yikes, that's terrible.
It is.
That's weird. Yeah. Wow, interesting. Cool. So going to the next question. What has been a challenging deal that you've dealt with, and how did you help resolve it?
So last year, in the middle of COVID, I had a transaction where I was listing a duplex. So the back unit was vacant. The front unit was tenant occupied. As soon as I walked on the property, she stopped paying rent. And then because of COVID, she didn't have to pay rent anymore. So that made it challenging for the seller. Well, then she became very difficult in handling, in that she didn't want the house shown. She didn't want inspectors on the property. She didn't want contractors on the property, because the house was almost, it was 108 years old, I believe. So clearly it was going to have some issues. And she didn't want any of this on. And it became roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. So the seller and I sat down, constructed a letter, basically did a cash for keys, which is where the seller forgave her past rent that she hadn't paid, and then gave her a cash amount to give us the keys, clear out her stuff. And then I had to, hustle and coordinate the contractors, the inspectors, the appraisers even to come out to this property. And then the other deadline I was pushed up against was that the buyers had a loan lock that was expiring on the Friday after Thanksgiving. But let's face it, there aren't mortgage companies open on the Friday after Thanksgiving. And so we had to close the day before Thanksgiving. And we literally got confirmation of closing at 4:45 on Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
And so the seller was happy, the buyer was happy. We all had happy holidays, but it was really challenging. I mean, with the COVID aspect, and then getting the tenant out for a tenant who just really wanted to be difficult. And that's a problem that a lot of people see, is that I even recommend, you'd be better off losing that 2 months worth of rent than having them cause a 4 to 6 to 8 month escrow period to get the house sold.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely interesting times right now, and that seems extremely challenging. But luckily, you guys were able to resolve it right on time, the day before Thanksgiving.
Well, we were a few weeks late, but our loan lock it had a drop dead date, and it was a significant amount they were going to have to pay to extend it even the 4 days to get it to Monday or Tuesday. So,
wow, interesting. Awesome. Well, definitely seems like you've dealt with a lot and experienced a lot as an agent for over 20 years. That's awesome. As we close out here, I want to thank you again for your time, and see what is the best way for listeners to reach you.
The best way is to email me or text me, but I would say text to get started. And my number's 408-529-1248. And you can email me at lisaknowssouthvalley.com. Oh, no, I'm sorry, at gmail.com.
Okay.
I was giving you my website, but
email.com. Okay,
so
cool. Well, we got both. We got your website and your email. So
so lisaknowssouthvalley@gmail.com is my email. lisaknowssouthvalley@homes.com is my website.
Awesome. And you also have your YouTube channel, right, Lisa?
I do, and it's Lisa Knows South Valley, where I do weekly updates of the events happening in the South Valley. So I started it more as a postcard years ago, when I had San Jose clients always saying they didn't want to move to the South Valley, and because there would never be anything to do. So I'm like, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. There's lots to do down here. And so I started as a postcard, and then a couple of years ago I brought it to life, and then COVID hit and nothing was happening. So I revived it again in July. So every Wednesday on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Nextdoor, my video comes out and it shows you some fun things to do. I pick between kid-friendly, family-friendly, adult only. Some things are free, some things have ticket charges, some are fundraisers. So I try to get a mix of everything that showcases stuff that's happening in the South Valley.
That's awesome. And I bet you there's a lot going on right now with the fall season.
There is. October's in a really busy month.
Yeah,
lots of pumpkin patches.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely fun times, and that's great. Awesome. Well, I'll put all your contact information in the show notes. And once again, this is Mortgage Martin. Thank you for listening to our show. And thank you, Lisa, once again for being on.
Thank you, Martin. It was a pleasure being online with you tonight.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.